It's game week, and we're here to get you ready on the UB Football Insider. Season starts tomorrow night as the Bulls take on Robert Morris. You'll get the latest from head coach Lance Leipold and the offensive and defensive coordinators. Plus, they'll take you inside the decision to go with hometown kid Matt Myers as the Bulls' starting quarterback. It is time to get it kicked off. The season starts tomorrow. We get you ready right now. Read option, handoff, Patterson, up the hole, up the middle, in the end zone, bullseye! Ragland, shotgun, pump fake, hit as he throws, picked up by the Bulls! Bursting downfield is Tyrone Hill, Buffalo touchdown! Well, Coach, this is one of many times in your coaching and playing career when you're on the brink of the start of a season. Does it ever get old? What are the emotions that you go through when you know that it is time to get a season going?
Well, I think we're all excited. I think, personally, you look at your team each and every year and you're excited about some of those newcomers, some of the guys that have waited for opportunities and have played well, through the spring and fall camp to get their first real extended playing time, and it's just an exciting time to get it started.
Every team always has its own identity that kind of emerges to you through the course of the summers and of the preseason. What kind of a team? Who are the guys that lead the way? What have you learned about that for your team this year?
Well, I think it's been interesting to watch certain players grow into more of a leadership role. I really like the business approach that they've taken as far as a team. I don't think there's a lot of extra talk about what they're going to try to do. They understand they have to go out and prove it. I think that's partly because they've been around what we've been doing and how we've been doing it now for a while, the upperclassmen at least, and I think the other ones have followed accordingly. And so with that, there's been good enthusiasm. There's been some things, but I guess the business-like approach about the daily way of going about getting better, I think they've really embraced.
Do you feel like this team has begun to create its own identity?
I think so. I think so, but I always kind of hesitate on that because, when it gets kicked off like you just referred to, you're going to really see what it's like for some of them. And of course, when adversity hits, how do we respond? And I think then a lot of the real true identity of a team will be shown.
What's the motivation for this team? Every year, team has different motivation. Sometimes that is created by you to get the guys kind of focused and locked in. It was 2 years ago being snubbed and, about the not bowl. So what's the motivation for this team?
I think because of the how this team has changed, really in the last 9 months, so to speak. I think the identity still goes back to what we want to be about, and that's daily improvement and those type of things that we've talked from day one, Paul. But I think the two things that I think you're probably alluding to a little bit is that one, we outside the program we didn't finish the way we wanted to. We didn't finish the season the way we had hoped, and also this group is I think out to prove that there's still many fine football players and talented guys within that locker room that could show that they can be highly productive.
It's a more youthful team than maybe you've had in the last couple of years. How is that different?
Well, it's different, of course, because they don't know what they don't know, and of course you have to kind of there's the learning curve is steeper, and you've got to do some things. You have to keep things a little bit more generic at times. You have to rely on the guys that are returning to step in. But the other part is, though, there's an excitement and a desire. Sometimes, with a guy's been there for 3-4 years, there can be, I don't want to say complacency, but it gets a little bit routine, and then with newness becomes some freshness in the program.
And with newness and youthfulness means there were some questions that you needed to have answered. Do you feel like most of them have been answered throughout the preseason, getting us to this game week?
I think most of them have. I think the one we've been up and down in the health area, in the secondary some, and really at the wide receiver position, and that's the one that probably will be evolving and will evolve throughout the year. And we're hoping at the same time as that does, we might be able to redshirt multiple people if it plays out that way. But it's a wait and see as we go along.
One of the big decisions you had to make was a starting quarterback, and you have chosen to go with Matt Myers at that job to begin the season against Robert Morris. What is it that Matt did to win that competition?
Well, I think it's been what Matt has been about since the day he stepped on campus. I think he gives us a true dual threat. A very strong arm, a big presence, the quickness and speed to help us in the RPO game. And, really mechanically and delivery-wise, he can get that ball out quickly. Now, it's going to be a first start, and there's a lot of things that will go through with whoever our starting quarterback was going to be that will go through some of those first-year growing pains with whichever quarterback was there. But looking at what Matt does, we feel right now he had an excellent camp, and he's going to give us the best chance to be successful now and throughout the year.
How much more does it help him or whoever would have won that quarterback position without a lot of experience, knowing that you do have significant experience at other parts of your offense? Maybe not at wide receiver, as you pointed out, but we know there's a lot of experience on the line and in the running back spots.
Well, I think that's probably one, is that if you had all your receivers back but had 5 starting new linemen, I think there'd be more questions that way. So I guess if you're going to pick your poison, in, so to speak, in this one, you want it up front where you can hopefully establish a solid running game and, of course, protect this first-time starter.
All right, it opens up with Robert Morris, a team from the FCS ranks playing their first ever FBS opponent from outside of Pittsburgh. What can we expect to see? What do you expect to see from the Colonials in this home opener?
Well, I think in a lot of first game matchups, especially sometimes when you're going to play an FCS opponent, we've had our ups and downs with that. You don't know what they're going to always bring to the table because even before any transfer portal there was always the FCS transfers that were always immediately eligible if they transferred down from FBS, and you just don't know what newcomers come in and make high impact and could be difference makers. Bernard Clark's our head coach. He was the associate head coach at Albany when we played them the first 2 years. So I'm sure he's going to tell them, exactly what happened in 2016 and when they brought their team down here and played extremely well against a young team and when we were a little bit searching for a quarterback and those things we'll have to be on guard for. And it's still, and that's the kind of setting that we want because we need to be ready and come out of the gate, play well early.
It's the home opener. It's the season opener right here at UB Stadium. Robert Morris Colonials are the opponent. A 7 o'clock kickoff. Coach, good luck to the season. Good luck Thursday.
Thank you very much, Paul.
Coming up, we dig a little deeper into the Buffalo offense with co-offensive coordinators Andy Kotelnicki and Jim Zebrowski. UB Football Insider will be back right after this.
Game Day returns to UB Stadium on Thursday, August 29th when UB football team hosts Robert Morris at 7 p.m. Coming off the best season in school history, the Bulls are ready to stampede into 2019.
Buffalo touchdown!
And Game Day is about so much more than just football. Before kickoff, enjoy a tailgate concert by country music star Ray Lynn, along with food trucks, kid-friendly entertainment, and more. For tickets, call 1-877-UB-THERE or visit ubbulls.com.
Welcome back to UB Football Insider. This segment is presented by CEFQ, changing lives every day.
We're here in the Murchie Family Fieldhouse, and we are talking Bulls offense with offensive coordinator and running backs coach Andy Kotelnicki and co-offensive coordinator, quarterbacks coach, and passing game coordinator Jim Zebrowski. Did I get all your titles in?
I think at this moment, yes.
Have you given him any more titles?
Yeah, no, that's good.
All right. Well, you two guys were the key guys in making one of the biggest decisions of this offseason for the Bulls, which is who is going to be the quarterback, and the decision has been made. It will be Matt Myers. I want to get the reaction from both of you guys as to what Matt did to win the job and what you're going to be able to do with him now that he's your starting QB. Andy?
Well, the evaluations always starts to be really objective, and you want to be able to see that guy understand what you're trying to do offensively. You want to see him make good decisions. You want to see him make the players around him better. And that was evident in Matt, especially as he continued to develop and play. He got better every day. Whatever he was coached to do, he learned, and you don't see him making the same mistakes twice. And then, just him athletically, I think, is something that's going to be pretty important for us, in our offense and our football team. When you have a quarterback who can run the ball well, it puts a lot of stress on defenses. Obviously we got some good running backs, and for him to be able to distribute that wealth a little bit in the backfield, but for defensive coaches to sit there and say, I got to make sure that guy doesn't carry the ball too, that adds a lot of stress to them, which is good for us. It keeps them a little bit more simple.
Right. When they start cloning quarterbacks, Jim, and you can order them up, you're going to kind of order up what Matt Myers can do: big and tall, strong arm, good legs, good arm, right? I mean, is he filled? Does he check a lot of the boxes?
He does, and like I said, it wasn't anything, as going through the process, not anything that maybe someone didn't. They both played well. That was great about it. Competition makes guys better. Andy always talks about in the running back room. You have competition, dudes get better. And that was great about it. And that's why Matt being hurt in the spring, we kind of tried to give him more reps in the fall to kind of balance the equation. And it was fun. Like I said, sometimes I think there's certain teams have to pick a quarterback, or you get to pick one. We got to pick one. And that's what's exciting, to have somebody like him, athletic kid, strong arm kid, having him, then having guys like Kyle behind him that have played in games, and it's good. Like, it helps Andy when he's calling plays, and us the game planning going, we don't have to have this package and this package. And that's what's great about it. So we're excited, really excited.
We've seen you over the years utilize the quarterback running, Andy, in at times at spurts against certain game plans. But now in Matt, you have sort of what the quarterback has become now in our world now, a classic read option, run, do whatever you want to do. How much does that open up your ability to design a different kind of an offense?
Well, when you talk about designing and systems and stuff like that, I think, you always got to be careful that, it's like, does the player fit the system? Well, the system needs to fit the player. And so how we go about it, we're pretty multiple to begin with. And so we always have, as you pointed out, parts of that always built into the system. And as much as it needs to grow or shrink based off of personnel, that's what it needs to do. And so like I noted before, you're lucky when you have a guy who can do both of those sort of things, and that's what he brings to the table.
Does that change things for you as far as having a quarterback that can run more in working with them on that part of their game, or opening up that part?
No, because I think we Andy and I have talked about a lot. We've been through multiple places and had different types of kids, and the kid still has to be. You want an athlete who has to be able to throw it. That's what I think people struggle with now. They try to find a kid who maybe is an okay throw, but a great athlete. Well, it gets you so far, but sooner or later that kid's going to get lit up. He is, and that's just the way it's going to be. And you're going to have to throw it sometimes. That's why. So I think, like I said, we're excited about where we're at. We're not going to change anything. He's going to run. The good thing is sometimes if pressure comes, he'll take off, and that's where hidden yard is needed in our offense. So plays like that.
All right, speaking of running, you bring back a great group of runners. You bring back a veteran offensive lineman. You bring back the MAC Freshman of the Year in Jarrett Patterson. What are you expecting the next steps for that group?
Well, as we kind of talked about already, but there's the idea of competition and them getting better every day. We're crazy not to utilize those guys in ways beyond just giving them the football, right? In the backfield. We want to try to diversify their athletic ability and the things that they can do out of the backfield. Kind of what you see a little bit more from, some of the top NFL guys. They're used a lot of different ways because they need to be more than just, here, take this and run. That room has really embraced the idea of, we talk about diversifying their talents, and that started right after the end of last season. We knew it was pretty obvious.
All right, Jim, as the passing game coordinator, not only have you had the challenge of figuring out your quarterback spot, but you've got almost a whole new group of wide receivers. How has that group started to emerge, and how have you had to work to get a lot of new guys sort of integrated into what you want them to do?
A little bit what Andy talked about. When we saw what was happening in springtime and so on, we're like, wow, we got some kids that can do multiple things. You got some tight ends, you got some running backs, so you don't have to have 1,000 receivers per se, to fill the roles of the AJs and the KJs and those guys. You got kids, so the biggest thing for us is getting kids lined up. Lined up first, being able to throw it, then starting to incorporate the motion. But it's exciting. It really is. They get better every day. And that's why if you just handle the fact they're going to make mistakes. They're going to blow routes. It is what it is in practice. You just hope by game time they're ready to go and we can find out what they do best.
All right. Well, as you can tell with these two mad scientists, I don't know that any of us know what we're exactly going to see from the Buffalo offense, but we get our chance to do it tomorrow night. The home opener here at UB Stadium against Robert Morris. Guys, thanks for the time. Good luck this season.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you, too, Paul.
Coming up, defensive coaches Brian Borland and Taiwo Anatolu break down the defensive side of the ball. That's next on UB Football Insider.
Welcome back to UB Football Insider. This segment is presented by Town BMW, the official auto partner of UB Athletics.
Well, it's time to talk a little Bulls defense here on the UB Football Insider Show. We got the offensive guys, their moments of glory. Now it's time to talk to the guys who shut everything down. Brian Borland is the Bulls defensive coordinator and cornerbacks coach. Taiwo Anatolu is the Bulls defensive ends coach and special teams coordinator. Those offensive guys, they steal all the thunder, don't they, Brian?
Yeah, that's the way we like it, though. We kind of fly under the radar. That's okay with us.
All right, well, I know you don't want your defense to fly under the radar this year. What's going to be different about this defense, aside from a lot of different players, but what might be different about this defense from what we've seen in the past?
I think more depth overall, probably more just overall team speed, athleticism at maybe all positions. So, in the past, that's been an issue for us once in a while. I think we're starting to level the playing field in that area now.
Right. Taiwo, the depth really plays into the position that you coach primarily, which is defensive ends, because the two starters from last year have graduated. In Chuck Harris's case, he's in the NFL right now. But you played so many guys there that the guys that are stepping up into that role are certainly, I think they combined for 8 sacks last year. So you have some comfort factor. Do you have some comfort factor with the guys that are going to be there?
Absolutely. Those guys started multiple games last year, Kuntz and Taylor Riggins, and they did a great job. They replaced the starters, and they never had any issues in there. They were productive and instinctive, making plays out there. And then with the depth with Ladarius Mack, Khalil Mack's brother, and then Friendly Darilius, he'll be in great shape too with that.
That's not the first time you made that Khalil Mack stumble there.
Oh yeah,
right?
All the time. They look like
well,
twins.
If he's reminding you anything of
does.
Khalil, that's a very good sign.
Yeah.
You play so many guys all across the defense, Brian. Is that part of the plan always, to never leave yourself coming into a season going, how do we replace all these guys?
Yeah, you'd never want to be just decimated by injuries. You always want to have answers. But I think the more competitiveness you can develop within positions, the more the iron's going to sharpen iron. The better everybody's going to be. If a guy knows he's going to, if he's practicing well and competing well, if he knows he's in the mix for some playing time, he's going to practice harder also. So I think that all plays into it.
Coach Leipold used the word to describe your defense as twitchy. Can you explain what you think he meant by that?
Yeah, I think we talk in terms of twitchiness in when we're watching recruits and things like that. It has to do with speed, explosiveness, change of direction ability, impact, forceful impact. That's kind of the guys that are twitchy have those good qualities.
Is that a good quality to have in defensive ends, Taiwo?
Absolutely. That's how you get to the quarterback.
Are you confident that the pass rush, which was very good last year, will be able to maintain the same things it did last year?
Yes, because Ladarius Mack, he's a guy that didn't get a lot of reps last year. He was kind of learning the position, and this year he's been really productive in camp. And he makes a lot of plays, and those guys becoming starters and getting the reps that they're getting, I don't think we'll lose a step there.
On the line, at the linebacker spot, you bring James Patterson back, who was a revelation for you as a freshman last year. What's the next steps for James, Brian?
Well, I think it's just continuing his progress in all areas. He's learning some of our middle linebacker spot as well, so he's doing those things. But he has really become. The Patterson brothers have really become leaders on our team, and as a second-year player. He's a real leader, so we just need to keep getting those things out of him.
You are also the coach of the cornerbacks, so tell us a little bit about that position and the defensive backfield as a whole, and then we're going to get to Taiwo to talk a little special teams.
Yeah, corners. We've got a couple of guys that have played quite a bit. Dev Russell and Apri Washington started at various points and were very productive when they've played, and then we're building some depth behind them. Safeties, we really returned 2 of our top 3 players from last year in Tyrone Hill and Joey Banks, and then. We've had a freshman, Corey Gross, has stepped up, redshirted last year. He's kind of our third, and we're still looking to build some depth there. But those 3 guys have really performed well in fall camp.
Taiwo, when you're not working with the defensive ends, you are the special teams coordinator, and your big challenge this year is finding a replacement for Adam Mitchison, who was a great kicker here. Where are you at with the kicking position?
Yeah, we've got a really good competition going on now. Alex McNulty, he's doing a great job. He's right down the road from Rochester. And we've got Jackson Balter, who's doing a great job too. He's from Bishop Moore. He's a true freshman. He's triple threat kind of guy. So it's a great competition right now, and one of those guys is going to be kicking off for us, and we're excited about it.
Yeah, and you've got some comfort at the punter position. Evan Finnegan came in and set a school record for punting average last year. What's the next steps for Evan?
Just to keep evolving. He set the record, I think 41.8, something around that, and he's still got a lot to improve on, and he's a guy that works hard, and he never settles for less, so he's working hard, and he's pumped for this season.
And how about a couple names in the kick return and punt return game?
We've got some dynamic guys, some really young guys that they've done really well in camp, and Devin Russell's a guy who has experience doing it. Tito Overton's done it. We've got a young guy, Ron Cook, who's been doing a solid job at it. Trevor Wilson redshirted last year, so a lot of unknown names, but we're excited about it.
All right, we all look at the offense to score points, but it takes good defense and special teams to make it happen, and it all starts for these two guys, Brian and Taiwo, along with the rest of the Bulls on Thursday night. Tomorrow night, it's the opener against Robert Morris. Can't wait to see all of this get going. Gentlemen, good luck in this season. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Coming up, we'll take you inside the game day experience at UB Stadium this fall. We'll preview the home schedule when we come back.
This is UB Football Insider, presented by ECMC, the difference between healthcare and true care.
Get ready for game day this season at UB Stadium. With Tailgate Concert Series, family-friendly entertainment, food trucks, and more, you won't want to miss any of the action this year. The Bulls kick it off on Thursday, August 29th at 7 o'clock against the Robert Morris Colonials. Country music star Ray Lynn takes the concert stage 2 hours prior to kickoff. You can watch the game on ESPN Plus or listen on ESPN 1520. After a couple of games on the road, the Bulls are back in town on Saturday, September 21st to take on the Temple Owls. The Tailgate Concert Series features Granger Smith. Homecoming is in October 5th as the Bulls take on MAC rival Ohio at 3:30. Nerds Gone Wild takes the concert stage at 1:30. Central Michigan comes to town on Saturday, October 26th. The game will feature a tailgate concert by Never Been. Get ready for midweek action on November 20th at 7:30 as the always dangerous Toledo Rockets come to town to take on the Bulls. And UB closes out the regular season on Black Friday against Bowling Green. Be sure to get here for every game day this season. You can get your tickets by calling the UB ticket office at 1-877-UB there or visit ubbulls.com. And yes, it all gets started tomorrow night here at UB Stadium against the Robert Morris Colonials. Kickoff is at 7 o'clock. Ray Lynn on the Stampede Square concert stage at 5 o'clock. And then your first look at the 2019 Bulls comes right here tomorrow night. You can see the game on ESPN Plus. You can hear it on ESPN 1520. We'll be here every week to get you ready for the entire Bulls football season. Thanks for joining us on the UB Football Insider Show.